Module 1, Concepts and Environments. Okay? For web programming, just give you basic concepts and also our programming environments. So, okay? All right. Part A for this class, part A. Next class, part B. Okay? Things like that. Okay? Overview and concepts. Yeah, actually, yeah, because this class we only have 30 minutes. Yeah. Or less than 30 minutes. Yeah. So probably the next time I also put a part A. Okay? Next class also put in part A. So this one and plus next another class, part A. All right. First, overview. Okay. We want to look at an overall picture of web programming. Okay? Web application architecture. Let's look at from the highest level. What is the web application architecture? Okay? Yeah. Yeah. You need to have a lot of things ready for you to do the web programming. So we want to look at that first. Look at this picture. Yeah. Probably it's not easy to see it clearly for you. Yeah. So, but after you download my PowerPoint slides, you can see it easily. The first column, client layer. So you know, client layer. Then internet, cloud thing. Then server layer. In the middle, the last column, storage layer. That's the typical web application architecture. Let me explain a little bit. So we call it three-tier architecture. Okay? Three-tier architecture. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, so that's the pretty much the standard way that people call it. But sometimes some people may call differently. But here we use the mainstream way to call it. Yeah. Because many people just use their own way to call it. Yeah. For example, here from this diagram picture, yeah, if you can see clearly, it's called N-tier architecture. N-tier. They treat it as N-tier. Not necessarily 3, but I still like the 3-tier architecture. Okay? Because it's very clear. Otherwise, nobody agree on that N. Because people cannot agree on that N. What is that number N? 5? 7? People cannot agree, right? So let's use that 3. Okay? Everybody use that 3 layers or 3 tiers. The first one, client tier. Okay? Yeah, the client tier also we call a presentation tier. Because based on the functionality, we present data in a specific format, user-friendly, good-looking format in this layer. So that's why we call it presentation layer. Okay? Organize data. Okay? Present to our users, to our customers, okay? At the client side. Okay? It's very clear. Okay? Yeah, so that's the first layer. Second layer, based on its position, people call it middle layer. Yeah. Something between, yeah? Client layer at the front, right? Yeah. Pretty much front, okay? Front end. Yeah. Yeah, this front, you know, yeah. Sometimes the meaning could be different. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So middle layer, in the middle. Okay? All right. Another name for it, business layer. Business layer. So from this name, you can see what do we do in this layer or tier. Okay? Tier layer. Okay? What do we do in this tier? Doing our business. Implement our business rules in this layer. So we call it business layer. Okay? Yeah. So when you do, because what's the goal? You write web applications. You develop web applications. do business. Okay? So you implement all your business rules in this layer. Then, third layer, data access layer. You can see the database is there. We know database is extremely important for web applications. Okay? Database, critical. Yeah. So there is one complete full layer for database. Okay? Yeah. So here in that picture, you can see relational database. Yeah, the font too small. Relational database management system. RDBMS. RDBMS, Relational Database Management System. Okay? All right. Yeah. We do not have alternative name for this one, just a data access tier. All right. More advanced version. That's the simplest version, 3-tier architecture. We have another version slightly more advanced than this one. Look at this picture. Okay? You can see, comparing with the first one, you can see pretty close, but there is one key difference. The difference is at the middle layer. Okay? Middle layer. All right. Yeah, so here. I want to get some, the stick. Okay, all right. Let me use, still too high. I cannot reach. Oh, what's that? What's wrong with it? I don't like this. That's bad. All right. Okay. In the middle layer, you can see there is an application server part. Okay. We do not treat it as a new layer, so we still treat it as the same middle tier, but there is an application server part. Add an application server in the middle tier. What's the application server? You may want to ask this, what is the application server? Yeah, so let me explain that. What's the meaning of that? Here you can see we have two types of servers. One web server, this column, web server. Usually we do basic features in web servers. Basic features. The minimum basic, okay? Yeah. You know, the low end part, okay? When we talk about features, the low end features we do in the web server. All right, now for the application server, we do the advanced features. Okay. Yeah, so what kind of advanced features? Usually in big company, enterprise level. Yeah, the company, large size, so we call enterprise type company. Yeah, they require many high-level advanced features. So usually those features not available in web servers. Web server, we know low end, right? So they are not supposed to do a difficult, complicated tasks. Okay? The high end or the advanced, we do in application servers. Okay? Yeah. So that's the modified version, or so that, all right. So this is the overall picture of our web application architecture. So we get this idea. Because in this class, we need to talk about that. Okay? Yeah, sometimes the web server, application server. Yeah, so we need to use this background. Okay, yeah. All right, next. Client-server communication model. Now, we need to look at the communication mechanism. Yeah, that's important. When we develop our projects, web application projects, we need to, do a lot of things regarding the communication. So we need to understand the theory, the background, the mechanism for the communication, client-server communication model. There is a model. Yeah, look at that picture. Yeah. We have client, process. Yeah. Then in the middle, network. Then you see request, response. Then the server machine. Okay? The arrangement like that. The communication, the components for these whole communication concept are arranged like this. All right. Now, let's look at the one communication cycle. When you do communication, someone needs to start it first. Right? Someone needs to start the communication. Here, a client requests a connection to the server. That's the starting point of the communication. Requests a connection with the server. How to request? We will see soon. Yeah? Yeah, at this bottom of this slide, you will see it. Yeah. The client needs to request a connection. Okay? The server can either accept or reject the connection. Yeah? Yeah. The server has the freedom to make this decision. Okay? In normal situation, accept, right? But sometimes, for some special reason, the server needs to block this connection. For security reason, right? Yeah. So there is that consideration. Yeah. All right. So here, let us assume connection is accepted. So we can continue the next step. The server establishes and maintains connection with the client. Yeah. A physical connection must be established. Physical connection. Yeah. There is underlying channel, okay, based on TCP IP, right? So there is something, yeah, but for this class, we don't get to that kind of detail. So we just know there is that kind of connection thing there. Okay? We do not need to deal with it. All right. Yeah. So then the server returns a response to the client. Yeah. Request, response. Okay? You send me a request. I return you a response. What kind of response? Based on the business requirement. Okay? Following some business rule. Because this whole communication is related to some particular business. Right? Based on the business rule, certain response will be returned. After that, one communication cycle completes. Request, response. End of it, then disconnects the connection immediately. Okay? After that, the server disconnects the connection. What's that? Why the server needs to disconnect? Because at the beginning I said the connection refers to some physical connection, right? The something, it exists there, okay? It's not an empty air, right? There is something, even wireless connection, it's a connection, right? Even wireless connection, there is a physical connection there, all right? Because if there is a physical connection there, inside the server, there is some memory resource allocated for that connection object. Connection is an object. Connection is treated as an object inside memory. Okay? So in the memory of the server, certain memory space is allocated for this connection object. Okay? That takes resource, valuable resource. Okay? Then, if the server does not disconnect this connection object, the resource is occupied. Okay? Precious resource occupied. Think about it. For a typical web application, many different clients usually connect to the same server. Okay? Each one takes certain amount of resource. Think about large number of clients can consume large amount of resource. Okay? If you do not disconnect it, sooner or later you run out of resource. Then the whole web application running very slow. Run out of resource. Okay? The new users, they have to wait until the resource is available. That's not good. That user experience is horrible. Okay? So for that reason, the connection must be immediately terminated as soon as it completes. Okay? That's the mechanism. That's the mechanism, the logic behind the communication model of that. Okay? Very simple. Yeah. All right. Next, look at this. The same model, but this time you can see we add something a little new. You can see the client we call the HTTP client. The server we call the HTTP server. Okay? Yeah. So for this class, we work on HTTP protocol. Okay? Other than HTTP, there are many other protocols, but not for this class. This class, we do web application development, so we only deal with HTTP protocol. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. So I will talk about HTTP in another lecture because it is so important for this class. If you don't understand HTTP, it is extremely hard to understand advanced topics, all built on top of HTTP. But I will not go to the tedious, dry rules of HTTP. I just select some basic things that we may need to use for this class. Otherwise, the document, very long, very dry, we don't want to do that. Yeah. HTTP protocol. All right. So we only study communication using the HTTP protocol. Yeah. So here I emphasize this. Yeah. So probably I need to use the whole class session like this. Talk about HTTP protocol. Yeah. All right. Now the question, how to start a request at the client side? Okay? Start a request. Yeah. At the beginning, a client requests a connection to a server, but how do you request a connection? What action do you need to do to request a connection. Yeah. Here, look at this picture. In this picture, you can see how do we request a connection. Look at step 1. In the URL bar, your web browser, we just type URL of the server. When we type URL server, we hit enter, you send a request to the server. That's simple. Okay? Yeah. This is one of the ways you can send a request to a server. One. There are several other ways, but this is the one of the ways you can send a request. Yeah. We have other ways, right? For example, when you click hyperlink, you can send a request to the server, right? Hyperlink. Yeah. Another way, you can write a JavaScript function. So when you click the button, your JavaScript function can send a request. Okay? So there are many ways you can send a request. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. So we will, when we need to use those ways, yeah, so we will learn. Yeah. All right, so here, just give you the, yeah. We have 4 minutes left. Let me see if I have another slide. 4 minutes. Yeah, I think I can. This slide is very simple. So we can finish this slide before the class ends. All right. Still, that picture, how to identify a server. Right? When you send a request, you need to know where is it? Okay? Or its address, right? The server needs some address. So you need that address for the server. Okay? Yeah. A lot of things, here I'm talking about things very basic. Okay? So a lot of things already covered in 3010 class. Yeah. So there is some overlap, but it's just like, I review a little bit, but also I add something new, but I need to put all the background together, prepare for this class. Okay? Yeah, if you know it, it's just a review. Okay? You treat it as a review. All right. When a client starts a conversation with a server, it needs to know some special address. We know it's IP address. So that's why this should be covered in 3010, IP address concept. Okay? Yeah, IP, Internet Protocol. Yeah. The structure, sorry, yeah. Hey. All right. Okay, yeah. Oh, Internet unstable. Oh, I hope I do not use too much data today. Yeah. All right. Yeah, so the IP address, yeah, here. I show you the 2 types of IP address. The first one, the old one, IPv4, 32-bit number IP address, like that. Okay? Yeah, the structure like that. Another one, IPv4, because we already run out of IPv4 numbers. Yeah, many years ago, IPv4 numbers already ran out. Okay? So people have to use longer bits, IPv6, yeah, to do that. Yeah. All right, so here the number of IPv4, that many, yeah. Not too many, 4 billion, right? 4 billion, you can see the current world, people can quickly use up 4 billion, right? Too many people. All right? But IPv6, we have that many. Then we don't worry. Okay? We have plenty of resources. Yeah, IPv6. Yeah. All right. Let me stop here.